Greetings, it's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to the start of another week. And what have we got for you this week? We got some good stuff and we got some really good stuff. But we're going to start off with a sort of continuation of Steppenwolf. And it's John Kay and Steppenwolf. So Steppenwolf split up. So John Kay wanted to sort of carry on. So what happened? They got a band together, and for contractual reasons they called it John Kay. Now they've released 4 albums. Interesting band to say the least. Now I haven't got any of these, and I think I know why. So we'll have a quick look at John Kay and Steppenwolf today. So coming in at number 4 is an album released in 1984. Now it's the second of the John Kay and Steppenwolf, but the 11th if you include all the albums. It was originally released in Canada and Australia, but it did get released in other places. So the band is John Kay on vocals and guitar, Michael Palmer on lead guitar and backing vocals, Gary Link on bass, and Steve Palmer on drums, Michael Wilk on keyboards. Additional musicians are all backing singers. We've got Jackie DeShannon, Phil Seymour and Brett Tuggle. First track on this one is called Watch Your Innocent. This is shockingly rubbish. It's, well, it's pop. You know, you don't expect, all the great songs from the Steppenwolf, Magic Carpet and Born to Be Wild, and then you get this. Oh dear, it's not very good. Don't like the song at all. Nothing is forever. And yeah, nothing is forever, just like Steppenwolf. This is atrocious. The drumming is awful. It's poppy. It's not very good at all. Then we get a track called You're the Only One. Probably the best of the worst here. It's a nice ballad, and it's a good vocal from John. It's got some cheesy keyboards on it, but it's probably the best of the rest. Okay, The Fixer comes next, just typical mid-80s nonsense, horrible cheesy keyboards, terrible production, terrible drums, not very good at all. Give me news I can use. I can give you some news. This isn't any better than anything else. Even the guitar solo just sounds overproduced. Only the Strong Survive. The keyboard is rubbish. Again, it's not very good. Slender Thread of Hope. Unfortunately, there's no Slender Hope here. It's alright. Again, one of the better tracks. Then it's Tell Me It's Alright. Yeah. And Circles of Confusion. All I can describe this is as just a naff pop song. Okay, one half decent track on here. The rest of the album is not very good. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 1 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 3, we have the 12th full album, or the 3rd, of John Kay and Steppenwolf, released in 1987, and it's called Rock and Roll Rebels. Different lineup again. John Kay lead vocals and guitar, Rocket Ricochet on lead guitar, what a name. Obviously it's not his real one. Michael Wilk on the keyboards and Ron Hurst on the drums. First track on here is called Give Me Life. It's a little bit better than the last outing. The keyboard actually sounds like a rock keyboard. It's not so cheesy. It's still a pretty poor song though. Okay, Rock and Roll Rebels, the title track. them horrible keyboards are still there. You thought, oh, we've got away with them on the previous track. No, they're still there in their glory. Then we get Hold On, Never Give Up, Never Give In. It's listenable. It's a good vocal from John Kay, I'll give him that. But it's not brilliant. Man on a Mission, another shocking 80s track. Everything that you hate about 80s rock music. Everybody Wants to Know, everyone, start again Iain, Everybody Knows You. One of the better tracks on here. It's got some nice little riffs in here. It's a good vocal from John. It's not too bad. Rocksteady on Rough and Ready. Yeah. Terrible keyboards. Dump the keyboards and you've got a half decent song on that one. Replace the Face. A little bit cheesy again. We're getting lots of cheesy keyboards on here. It's one of the better songs, mind you. Turn Out the Lights, a very cheesy ballad. Give Me News I Can Use. Yeah, I can give you some news you can use. Ditch the cheesy keyboards and you've got a half decent rock track. And Rage, I think it's probably one of the best tracks on it. It's got a little bit more oomph, but it's not over brilliant. There's a couple of more better tracks on here than the previous, but it's still not much better, I'm afraid. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 2 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 2. This was the debut album of John Kay and Steppenwolf, but the 10th overhaul from 1982. It's the first album in 6 years. So it's John Kay on guitars and vocals, Michael Wilk on keyboards and vocals, Michael Palmer on lead guitar, Welton Guyte on bass, Steve Palmer on drums, Brett Tuggle and George Biondo on backing vocals. First track on this one then, All I Want Is All You Got. I don't mind this track. It's got some nice electric piano on it, it works quite well. A nice vocal actually from John. Then we have a track called Time. It's got a great bass line on this from Welton Guyte. Pretty decent actually. None of the Above. Fortunately, I think the guitar needed a little bit more raunchiness to it, but it's still got that typically 80s guitar sound on it. Then we have You, a very wishy-washy song. Although I have heard this live, there is a live version of this hanging around on YouTube. It's not too bad. Every Man for Himself. It's okay. It's not brilliant, but it's okay. 5 Finger Discount, just horrible. Poppy rubbish, does not suit them. Side 2 opens up with a very interesting version of Argent's Hold Your Head Up. Probably one of the worst versions of this song I've heard. Then we have a reasonably good track called Hot Night in a Cold Time. It's got a nice guitar solo on it. That's all I'll say about that one. Down to earth, overproduced keyboards, smooth, not raunchy enough for rock and roll, very wishy-washy, very limp sounding song. And the balance, this one's nice and it's got a good vocal from John. It's not a bad album. It's listenable in places. It's got a couple of more half decent tracks on it, but John Kay sounds good, so I'll give him that. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 4 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 1. This was really tough because, to be quite honest, none of these albums are particularly good. It was the 13th and the last album of the big name Steppenwolf, but the 4th of the John Kay and Steppenwolf, released in 1919. It's called Rise and Shine. So it's John Kay on guitar and lead vocals, Michael Wilk on keyboards and bass and programming. That's always a nightmare, isn't it, when it's a thing. Ronald Rocket Ricochet, so there's his real name, Ronald, but I don't think Ricochet, maybe his second name, lead guitar, and Ron Hurst on the drums. First track is called Let's Do It All. Not bad. Some nice keyboard on here. It actually sounds decent. normal keyboard sound. Time Out, pretty good. It's got some nice riffs on this. There's none of this smoothness on it. It's quite raw. Great vocal from John. I do like that one. Do or Die, it's okay, but it's got a good guitar solo on it. I'll give old Ronald Rocket Ricochet that. Rise and Shine, best track on here, really good. Sort of harps back to the earlier days of Steppenwolf. I quite like that. Then The Wall. Now this is my favourite track. It's got some great Hammond organ on it, a fantastic vocal from John. Probably the best track of this sort of lineup. The name of the band, very good. The Daily Blues. It's a good track. It's not it's classic Steppenwolf, but it's pretty solid. Some nice guitar riffs on that one. Keep Rocking. It's okay. Got a nice little riff to it. Rock and Roll War. Got a great beat, great bass line on this. Pretty good. Sign of the Line. Oh dear, a little bit wishy-washy. We like it, we love it, we want more of it. Very filler track. So this isn't too bad. And if this is the last thing that you'll get from sort of a Steppenwolf or John Kay, they went out with some sort of decency. Sort of turned the sound around. It sounds like a bit of a 90s rock album from an older band. And I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. As I said, I've not got these albums, and I don't think they will be added to my collection either. They're a little bit of a disappointment. I think it was just a band of the time. You know, trying to reform a band in the 80s with all that horrible production was not going to really happen. And they'd lost some of his early days success. Okay, that's all for this one. We'll be back with a classic album, and we're going to look at a very important punk album, probably one of the first punk albums here in the UK. It's the debut album by The Damned, called Damned, Damned, Damned. So join me for that later. Bye for now.